Hello and welcome. It's exciting times for the energy industry world over, with oil prices and energy prices now coming to an even keel. But it's also exciting times in India, where there's economic growth coming back and therefore huge opportunities once again for energy. Joining me now to discuss this, and particularly in the context of the India-UK corridor, is Sashi Mukundan, Head of British Petroleum in India. Sashi, thank you very much for speaking with us. Give us a broad sense. How are things looking from an energy company's point of view at this time?
Thank you, Govind. I think what I would say is that there is a excitement in the air. What you're seeing is, with the overwhelming majority mandate for the new government and the ambitious plans of the Prime Minister, what you're seeing is there is excitement as well as expectations growing in the industry. What's going to be critical is to see how all of this rolls out in terms of policies and plans.
Right. Now, how do you see the energy environment more specifically from a price? Let me put it this way. I mean, oil prices are coming down. Now, this obviously means that, for countries like India, the economics of the overall economics improve, as well as growth becomes in some ways simpler. Is that an opportunity for, and in what form?
So I think, what you're seeing is, with the ambitious plan to grow and develop the country, energy becomes an important part of it. It's important that energy keeps up, and, you need energy for fueling the growth in the economy. What does that mean? With this kind of an ambitious growth plan, we need to see very large-scale investments. We need to see very large-scale investments happening in this sector, as well as in the rest of the economy. This would mean, doing things at a very large scale, and this is not something that one company can do or one government can do.
Right.
So what you're looking for is everybody to come together, whether it's the government, the states, private, public sector, as well as international companies coming together and all working together to make this happen. So we are getting into an era where we need to see a lot more of trust and working together. There needs to be huge commitment. This is going to be decades of work together, and that's what you're starting to see what the government is trying to do,
right,
which is working with all the stakeholders to start building that platform through which we can accomplish this growth.
Right. Now, I mean, your frustrations at some of the delays on the pricing issue are on record now. How do you see that panning out? And I also know that you are continuing to invest in other areas, or are exploring other investments. So can you walk us through what that whole situation looks like?
So actually what's happening is, you know that the government is going through a review process, and once they come out with the review process, they have said they will announce the going forward prices in 45 days. This is a long-term industry. We are working for decades of work, so this is fine. What's important is to get the right pricing policy in place so that we can get more activities going. What you got to keep in mind is there is quite a lot of discovered resources sitting in the ground in India, including the ones which BP has found, and we are working towards developing these resources in the next few years. Essentially what we will do is, if we are successful in doing this, we would be able to help the government avoid $75 to $100 billion of imported energy over the next decade. So this is a huge positive step for the country, especially as we are looking to grow. And as an overall industry, this number could be even more. You're talking about $1 to $1.5 trillion worth of energy that could be produced over the next couple of decades.
Right. Now, if that indeed is the potential, would you see yourself putting in more investment, and if so, in what kind of regions or areas?
So, we have been on record saying that just our projects that we have in the Krishna Godavari Basin alone, along with our partners, could be $10 to $12 billion over the next 5 years. So, you can see the scale at which we are looking to invest. And you can see on the other side, it's going to create $75 to $100 billion of value to the nation. So clearly, this is one part of it. In addition to that, we're looking at a whole host of things in terms of our downstream projects. As you know, we've got Castrol India,
right,
which is playing a key role in terms of energy efficiency. We're developing lubricants which will actually save fuel in trucks as well as cars. We're actually jointly working with Tatas and Maruti to do that. We are already through Castrol, touching all the urban and rural population through almost 40,000 touch points across the country. We are also employing and building skills through our outsourcing operations, where we develop most of our IT and we manage a lot of that within India. And this is being done through almost 4,000 to 5,000 people across India in various places. And these are all skills and knowledge development in India on the energy business. Right. So, we are already playing and doing a lot of things that the Prime Minister has been talking as part of his agenda, which is what makes it more exciting for BP in India. It's not just the oil and gas business, but it's the skills development, it's the energy efficiency, it's about providing employment to people. It's actually being a partner to India across the board.
Right. What are the areas that you feel or that there is a need for specific policy intervention, if so, in coming years to make some of this investment? I mean, this could be at the top level as well as at a very micro level, but where could be the focus in terms of easing up the whole process of investment and actually realizing that investment?
So I think the way to look at that is, again, it's not just our industry, but in general, I think, what are people looking for when you're looking at coming in and putting very large investments in India? You would be looking for, firstly, you want to make sure that you have a mutually trusting atmosphere. What I mean by that is, you need to have a similar goal. Make sure that your goals are aligned. Make sure that you're working towards the same cause,
right?
Which seems to be the case now because everybody is working towards growth and development. So that's clear, that there's clarity of purpose. Second bit would be, we need to make sure whatever businesses or whatever products you're making in India is competitive. It's not only just competitive in terms of the product, but it also, the investment needs to be competitive. So it becomes important to give the right policies and right framework so that it can be competitive. Sanctity of contract, because when you look at oil and gas business, this is a multi-decade business. So it's important that we have sanctity of contract. It's important we have fiscal and regulatory stability. Having clarity, making sure it's fair becomes important. So I would say these are some of the basic principles that not just in the oil and gas industry, but I think across all companies coming and investing at the scale that you're talking about, having to invest in India to unlock, this tremendous growth. I mean, if India starts to grow at 8-9%, then you need very different engagement. You need companies coming in and doing very large scale things. And this is where I would say, UK companies are ahead of everybody else. If you look at it in every industry, whether it's energy, telecom, infrastructure, across the board in all of these, even financial services, you got UK companies which are in front. UK companies have come in and made large bets and are working in India.
Right, and in some ways you've answered my next question about what are you seeing on the India-UK corridor. One last question, Sashi. What's the one new thing that you're looking out for this year? I mean, we spoke last year around this time and you talked about some of the challenges and the opportunities ahead. What's the one thing that you're looking ahead now?
I think what we're looking ahead is to be able to work together. It's what I told you about mutual trust. I think the most important thing is going to be where we are aligned with the government and us work together. And I can already see that coming out from this government because there's very clear clarity in terms of what the purpose is.
Right, Sashi. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thanks.